camping site. I'm here with Chris and Pauline Kirby. Perhaps you can tell us your call signs.
G4FZN.
G8HQW.
Thank you very much. I knew I'd forget that, get them to say the wrong call, otherwise I'll forget the call sign. So, yeah, this is the camping film. This is where a lot of the volunteers have been staying throughout this WRTC event, and things have been happening for quite a long time before the contest. So, Chris, perhaps you can tell us how this started for you, how you first got involved.
About three years ago, we were at Friedrichshafen at the big rally there in Germany, and both of us, we put our names down. At the time, we thought, well, we're just volunteering to be a station manager. We've got lots of station managers out right now. We thought, well, we can be one. We've got the caravan, we've got generator, that sort of thing. At that time, we had no idea what we were letting ourselves in for.
No,
Is that right?
Absolutely, no, none at all. No idea. We said we'd just volunteer for anything that needed, but yeah.
We put our names down on the list. Yeah.
And obviously someone saw the potential for you guys to sort of do a bit more than perhaps just volunteering. So how was that? Perhaps Paul, and you can tell us what's happened since then. How have you got? It sounds like you got a bit more involved in this volunteering as a station manager or a site manager.
Well, we got a little bit more involved because we got involved in the rehearsal, which was 12 months ago. So this time of year, 12 months ago. And at that, there was only a very small number of us, and we came with the caravan because they knew we had the caravan, and we had a bit experience on a bit of antenna building and things, and they wanted to put up rehearsal 5 sites, and we came down and we helped to install 5 sites, which once again was in 33 degrees heat, no shade, blue sky all the time, very hot work, and we managed to achieve that in about a day and a half, didn't we, before the contest started.
It turned out to be a very good rehearsal indeed, Chris,
did.
Because not only were we rehearsing the stations, we were rehearsing for the temperature. Like the station builders we've had out were working during the last 10 days in temperature of up to 34 degrees. Actually, that's what it was like at the rehearsal as well. So we got to plan, we got water in for them, and generally to look after the health and well-being.
Yeah, I guess the purpose of the rehearsal was to learn some lessons, really fine-tune how it's going to work for the real event that's been happening over the last week or so. And I think, because I've also been a volunteer, things have been pretty well organised and planned. I think a lot of that's come back down to how things went at the rehearsal. So what's happened since the rehearsal? How have you got involved since there, Chris?
We sort of got spotted at the rehearsal. I don't know. We seemed to do all the right things, and we were invited after that to join the organising committee.
I think we were asked if we would join the committee. It was at the RSGB convention when we were on a stand next to WRTC, and
we must have been in the right place at the right time.
And they asked us. Yeah.
Anyway, so we got that, and we just taken it from there. We started the planning. We've been building the station building teams. We've been fostering a good team spirit, and we started that planning about 4 months ago with a big spreadsheet. Fantastic turnout of volunteers. In total, we've had 58 volunteers. Not everybody on the same day, but at the peak time, which was I think Wednesday, this 3 days. What day is it today? About Wednesday, 4 days ago, we had about 42 people working at the same time. 42 out of 58 volunteers. I'll just say how the planning worked. The number of volunteers grew as we got nearer to the competition. So a week ago, I perhaps had about 32 volunteers, so we put 4 teams together. The following day, 4 teams, but the Monday, the Tuesday, we expanded that up to 6 teams. And hopefully, for the teardown operation that starts after the contest, we're going to have 7 teams on the go, all at the same time.
And we should explain, we're recording this actually during the contest. It's now, it's 20 to 4 on Saturday, so the contest is actually happening right. A little bit of a lull, I think, in activity right now while the contest is happening. I guess that it's going to spike afterwards, but I know you guys have been really busy over the last 24 hours. But before we get on to that, so we've had all these stations, but how many stations had to be built all together?
Okay, we were tasked with building 55. There are 50 competitive stations, and Mark Hayes, the chairman of the organising committee, he wanted some spare ones built as well. We've achieved that. We've got about 53 at the moment, and then we've got spare parts that we can put together if we start. We haven't needed to use any of the spare sites yet.
Hopefully we won't.
But they are there in case we need them.
Got it. And what's each station comprised of? What has each station? What have they got?
Right. I can't go through all the technical detail, but there's the antenna, and the antenna is a multi-band, a tri-band antenna. There are 3 elements for 10 metres, 2 elements for 15 and 2 elements for 20, and then that's at the top of the mast on a rotator, which we've had to fit, and then the teams get 2 dipoles, one for 40 and one for 80. So that's the sort of radiated side of it, mast, antennas. Then there's all the other stuff, gazebos to be erected, tables to be put in the gazebos, chairs, every chair has to have a cushion. What else have we had? Oh yes, can I mention the facilities? We're out in the public, so we have to provide a loo tent with a toilet. The competitors are there for 24 hours. Whether they take a break from their operating is entirely up to them, but we provide the facility if they want to. What else? Generators, cables.
So everything that's required to run a station, but a lot of stuff. I mean, as you know, I've been volunteering as well. I think it took about 3 hours for us to put up each of those.
Yeah,
it's quite a lot of work.
A lot of heat, and also each of the team were provided with all the equipment, and that had to be allocated and taken to every single site and delivered, and then site builders went off to
delivered to the right site at the right time. They've been a fantastic crew of the station builders. I created a WhatsApp group because I wanted them all to be able to chat to each other, but also I wanted a means of being able to send messages out in case there was a sudden change. And there have been 1 or 2 minor changes, but the WhatsApp group has been fantastic. They've all joined in, we've shared photographs, and I've still been able to get the occasional important message across, Chris. You'll have seen them, won't you?
I'm on the group myself, absolutely. So, and of course these sites are not all in the same place. How spread out are these sites, and how difficult are some of these to get to?
Well, we are here more than an hour's drive from the headquarters. The furthest site to the east of us, that's more than an hour's drive from here on Thorpe Abbott's airfield. We've just got a couple of sites there. We've got 3 sites on another disused airfield. A lot of disused airfields around here, and quite a lot still in use, as you'll know. So we go out about 30 miles to the east from here, but most of the sites are on these big country estates. There's loads of them in East Anglia. The most famous is Sandringham, but we're not using Sandringham. We're here on the Euston estate. There's a Shadwell estate just up the road, Elvedon estate, Brandon estate. They're big, and we can get 5, 6, 7 sites on those estates and still retain a minimum of 500 metres between the sites. That's what we did at the rehearsal. That was part of the trial, was can 2 HF stations compete successfully without causing interference with only 500 metres between them, and the answer was yes, they can.
Fantastic. So huge amount of coordination required. You guys have been doing a ton of work way before the event started, way before, trying to get people to get involved, arranging things, emails going out. I know you and I emailed quite a few times before I turned up the other week to try to help to something, but that would be times so many volunteers. A huge amount of work from you guys and a huge amount of planning. Certainly I can talk about being a volunteer. You know, we would turn up, we would find the what 3 words location, that's what we've been using to identify each of the sites. We'd turn up, there would be That's already, like you said earlier, delivered to site. There's already all the stuff there, the chairs, the gazebo, the aerial, the mast. We've got to turn that in
And
about...
also we provided you with maps and locations
Oh,
of how to get onto
absolutely.
sites
Huge
and-
amount of detail in not just that, but also actually for this site you've got to follow this particular path so you don't disturb any wildlife. There's lots of those sort of constraints.
I should say we didn't find the sites. Other people who live in the area, and you can talk to them about how they've made the contact with the estates. But you did touch on one. There's one particular cluster of sites where we've to be exceptionally careful not to disturb the wildlife, nesting birds, and even to the point that we had to maintain good contact with the gamekeeper before we hammered any pegs in the ground. Anyway, he went away happy.
Well, that's good, and of course it's about making sure we have those relationships and we don't upset people and we do it the right way. Obviously, I guess they've let us use these sites, and I guess we have to follow the rules, don't we? So that's great.
Indeed we do.
And in terms of the volunteers and I know we did a training session, so tell us a little bit about that and how that went.
Okay, yeah. During the rehearsal 12 months ago, I identified, and he's pretty well known locally, an amateur, Wilson Convery, G6 Echo Lima Fox, and everybody knew what they were doing, but he stood out, and I thought that's my guy to be the trainer. So I asked him nicely, polite email, and he said yes, he'll do the training. So on Saturday morning I got all the team, I nominated a team leader for each team, and we made sure all the team leaders were there on Saturday morning. I think you were there as well.
I was, yeah.
And about 30 other volunteers, and Wilson did a really first-class training session on what we call Site 502, which is only about a mile up the road. And after that, the teams went away and they built 4 more sites themselves under the guidance and watchful eye of Wilson and some of the other people who are far more technical about it than I am.
And I've got to say it was a great session, and a lot of the guys I was with, I was part of Team 3, pretty experienced, but actually, we'll just check it. Oh, actually, is that bolt going that way or that way? And, all that stuff was very, very, very... I'm just turning up with a manual. Actually doing it with Wilson there made a massive difference, actually, to really helping us to figure out how to do these things.
And the teams themselves... if there were 6 or 7 people on a team, I didn't give them more than 2 sites per day, because you said yourself earlier, 2.5, maybe even 3 hours under the hot sun is what it takes to properly assemble a station together. Some teams, perhaps if they got 8 or 9, maybe even 10 people, they were given 3 stations to do in a day. And I have to say that's a big, big challenge. You've got to be mindful of health and safety, make sure they have rests and wear all the correct protective equipment and so on. But they did, and it's fair to say though, some of these sites that did 3 stations, some of the teams that did 3 stations in a day, they were coming back 7 or 8 o'clock at night, pretty damn tired, I have to say. Hey, but nobody complained. We're all a happy team.
Absolutely, and Pauline, the health and safety has been a big thing as part of this. I know part of the training was around you've got to have the hard hat, and how important is that in especially the heat as well?
Oh, definitely. We had to have the risk assessment of anything going wrong and make contingency work, things to put into place before we took this on, to make sure that everybody was safe. And when we tried to make sure that all teams had somebody with first aid training or a medic or something like that, we made sure that team leaders knew to look after their team and watch out for any sign of, if they were getting tired or if they needed water or anything, just to sit down and in the shade. And also making sure that they also had jobs that they were able to do. I mean, some people are stronger to do the mast work, some people were just doing assembly work or putting the gazebo up. There was a different lot of skill sets for the people, and the team leaders were very good at doing that.
Jobs to suit everybody, and that's what we did. Good division of labour, it's called.
Absolutely, and it's certainly the team I worked in worked really well together. We all kind of naturally fell into a certain task. I think I was more involved in putting the mast up. Other folks had putting
You
together.
must be strong then, Chris.
Like that. But there was also the guys putting the aerial together at the same time. Once the mast was ready, they put the rotator on. There was somebody doing the rotator and getting that all ready to go on the mast. So it's all, and I think I was only involved for the first couple of days. I think as time goes by, that starts to get a bit slicker, and hopefully that kind of getting a bit quicker at doing these things. But it was all seemed to be very, very well organised, even within each team. Once that was done, then okay, I'll go and do the gazebo now, and it all seemed to work pretty well.
I tried to assemble the teams as far as I could, but there was the Swindon Radio Club was one particular team, Cray Valley were another team. We've had volunteers from Scotland and the north of England, and thank you to them for coming. And I put all them in a team because Northerners do work well with Northerners. We found that out. Yeah. But really, all the teams worked fantastic together.
We've had those from Germany.
Oh, we've had people from, Germany, Italy, USA. One of the medics who's been on station building is a de-expeditioner, W0 Zulu Bravo. He's off down to South Georgia with a de-expedition next year. And so we've had a great range of skills.
A real mixture of people involved in this. But I think everyone working together, I've not seen any arguments, anyone, it all seems to be pretty well done.
We've had one or two.
We might have, but they seem to have had a great team spirit. They've come back. They've been absolutely shattered, and I've asked them, "How have you gone on?" And they've said, "Oh, we're really absolutely shattered, but we've had a great time."
Yeah. And the reward. There is a little reward for this because all the volunteers, the station builders, are being invited to the closing ceremony on Monday. And that's going to be a big event. They've all had the T-shirts like yourself and the hat.
The baseball cap,
But the biggest plus side is as many as we can are going to go to the closing ceremony.
They were also
Brilliant.
really adaptive as well, but they were very flexible because sometimes things didn't quite go to plan. No matter how much planning we'd done beforehand, there were things out of our control which we couldn't help. I mean, sometimes we then got phone calls saying we were on the day we'd scheduled deliveries to go and site builders to go on that site. We then found we couldn't go on the sites and the deliveries had to be held back to another day.
Explain about the pink ladies on the tractors.
Oh, yeah. We couldn't go on to one site because they were having an event called the Pink Tractor Ride, I think.
Ladies Tractor.
And
tractors.
there might have been the possibility of some having to be towed out in the morning and things, and they didn't want us on site until later on, so we had to go the following day.
So always planning for the unknowns, absolutely. Yeah. I know, certainly in my own personal case, you're bound to get the odd tiny that. For example, I think at one of the sites they were missing a couple of bolts, and we got on the radio within half an hour. Someone had brought them along, or you're missing a certain bit. So that was all pretty slick as well. You had people running around and and doing that stuff.
I was controlling on the radio on 2 meters, 145.250.
That's the one. Yeah,
that's the one. And so I was at the end of the radio quite often, and I was making a list of all the things, the snagging list, things that hadn't gone quite right, some things that were missing, some things that weren't working, and so then getting people out there to get them to you.
We had one or two volunteers and members of the organising committee on standby, and they were the people who'd rush out in the case of a missing nut and bolt or something like that.
Yeah, and I say that work builds. Competitors are now, let's talk about maybe the last 24 hours. So they've all these 50 teams have now come to the UK. They're now gone out and tried out this site. So have there been any issues at all?
Have they had any complaints?
Any complaint? Well, I've had the wrong word. I've had to, anything you've had to do to help them.
Challenges,
issues. We've had some challenges.
We've had one or two, but not since the contest started. I think somebody's rushed out with a replacement generator. You can't always, the brand new generators, you can't predict that. But by and large, the contestants seem very happy with the stations, even if the grass might be a bit long and there's an awful lot of nettles around this part of the world. But the challenge, the big challenge is yet to come, Chris.
So tomorrow at the end of the contest.
The end of the contest.
But after that, we handed over, because they then went to site managers, and then we had to let their site managers to orchestrate some of the sites, welcoming the actual teams when they came and help sort out those problems.
Yeah, but they're on the air. It sounds like it's all going really well. So fingers crossed. I mean, you're going to get the odd issue, but it sounds like it's gone as well as it possibly can have.
I think the site builders can, by and large, have a couple of days off. We want to see as many back as possible on Sunday afternoon after the contest. And we will be dismantling stations Monday morning. The closing ceremony is Monday afternoon. And who knows, we might be doing it on Tuesday as well.
Well, let's hope it gets done. I hope we're taking them down a bit quicker than putting them up, I imagine.
Well, this is our next problem, because this is
Challenge.
next challenge. This is the thing where very shortly we need to start planning for, because I couldn't believe that it's going to be tomorrow that the stations will all be coming down. And so now we have to think of all the logistics of that taking
Everything
place.
in reverse.
So now we've got this far, now we have to start planning again for the station builders to actually take this down.
Station unbuilders, I suppose, yeah.
Builders.
Station dismantlers.
Yes.
We're looking forward to the challenge. We are.
I'm sure it'll be great fun, and I'm sure it's all going to work out. I'm sure it's going to be
Fingers crossed.
a great competition. Certainly, from my perspective, every station that was being built, it wasn't done in a rush. It was done very carefully. We tested all the aerials. We made sure that the SWR was correct. If it wasn't, we'd tweak things, that sort of thing. Everything had to be fair. So all the aerial pointed in exactly the same direction as all the other stations. It was all built, as a manual that someone spent a lot of time, I imagine, writing, that we made sure was followed. So, I can be, certainly from the ones I was involved with, can be, say hand on heart that everything was equally, and of course, the competitors didn't know which station they're going to get. It was all randomly drawn. So I think we can say with a lot of certainty that actually it's a very, very fair contest, and a lot of effort's being done to ensure that fairness is there.
We've enjoyed planning it, and I hope you've enjoyed the execution of the stations.
Absolutely, it's great fun.
It's just been great meeting all these people, all these different people from all different places. And some of the contesters, some have come on minibuses and just stopped off. And also we did manage to visit a couple of stations before the contest, just to go and check that everything was okay. They were absolutely delighted with what they got.
Fantastic.
So let's hope all the rest of them feel the same.
And here at the camping site, how have things been here? Obviously, this is where a lot of people have been coming back to stay. How's the atmosphere been here?
It has
Really
been.
good.
We've got to say thanks to the Cray Valley. Thank you, Cray Valley Radio Club, because they put the gazebo up in the middle, and that's become a little bit of a gathering area in the evenings where station builders can just chill out, maybe grab a tin of beer or something and spin yarns together. It's been really good.
And I have to say, I signed up to be a volunteer, but I didn't know anybody else here when I wasn't worried about that, because I know all amateurs have all got shared interest, and we all got on really well. So yeah, excellent.
We've noticed quite a lot of them their teams have actually made a really team spirit, and then they've got back here, and then they've all gone off and off sites and gone to the pub, had a few drinks, had a meal, and then come back, sat out
Made some
here.
new friends, yeah.
And they've made new friends, which is what it's all been about. It's
Absolutely.
been really good. We can't say enough about how fantastic every one of those station builders have been. Absolutely the top, the best.
Look, listen, thank you very much for the chat. Any final words you want to say? Anything else that we've not talked about yet?
Pauline's just said it. The station builders have been really, really excellent, and we want to say thank you to every single one of them. And let's hope we enjoy the tearing down as much as we've enjoyed the building.
Yeah.
And Paul, anything else from you, Pauline?
Well, I second that, because there wouldn't really be a WRTC contest unless those station builders had built those stations.
Absolutely. Well, thank you both very much, both for the interview and all your hard work, and I wish you all the best.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers. Thank you.